So we're anchored outside Agnes Lodge in Munda, and there's a wedding going on today. Oh, they're getting rowed ashore in a traditional canoe. There's shouting going on there. He's getting a bit excited, isn't he? If he's going to kill the bride and groom before they even start. Okay, I'm in Munda and I'm with Barney. Barney's a collector of World War II artefacts. And how long have you been collecting for?
2002, right up to now.
Up to now. And you use a metal detector?
The first 7 years, I think I don't use metal detector. Then later on, after that, 2009, then somebody gave me Australian Rotarians, and then a friend of mine from New Jersey. From Wisconsin, gave me that small metal detector, so I use them now. Yeah. And we're still using them,
So everything that's on display in this little museum is from this area and the surrounds of this area?
Around the surround of this area. So mainly up in the battle sites and the hills.
Yeah. So it's amazing what's here. I actually read a story about the airfield here when the Japanese were in control of the airfield.
Yeah.
They tried to camouflage it from the Americans by...
Yes.
Was it putting wire over the tops of the trees? But the locals found out and they told the Americans what was going on.
The Japanese did them themselves. They're stringing rigging wires and are covered with, those the coconuts. They string the rigging wires, plenty of them, and then cover them with the branches of coconut leaves and work under the airstrip. Yeah. So the first time when the US they came down, and because they contacted the natives, the natives they found out that they since Japanese activities, building the airstrip. So what happened was they passed on the information to two of these guys in Rendova by the name of Dick Hutton and then one of the Wickhams, and then they keep relaying message. They relayed messages to work out to these Americans. So 2 weeks before the field was completed, they had to send all the reconnaissance flight, come down and try to. But it was all covered with coconuts, so they couldn't see that. But then after they went back, and then after another 2 weeks, that is towards the end of November, they came back again and had to get down very low, and then they saw white line under the coconut palms. It was all at that time, it was all covered with a crushed coral. So you can see, can be seen easily from the air, and then you straight away there's a complete airstrip under the palms, So they have to go back, and then and then they send all these, on the 22nd of December 42. That was when the bombing started, took place, to destroy the airfield.
And that was very important to them because they'd lost Henderson Field in Guadalcanal.
The Japanese.
Before that, the Japanese, hadn't they?
Yes.
So this one was strategically very important to them.
It was like when they started to withdraw from Guadalcanal towards the end of 1942. They headed back towards Rabaul. At that same time, they were already engineers, Japanese here. They were already here working on the airstrip. It was like another sort of stepping stone to get down to Guadalcanal, try to retake Guadalcanal. And that's why they built the Colombangare airfield and then Munda airfield once.
Right. And so there's an airfield at Colombangare.
There's an airfield at Colombangare.
Right. Okay.
Colombangare, which is about not far from here, down that.
Yeah, we haven't been there yet. We're going.
It's a volcanic island, but then the airfield and one of their main garrison was sort of facing this way, facing the north of New Georgia, which is they face east, and then facing the north part of New Georgia.
Yeah. That's interesting. All of this is really interesting.
Okay.
I'm into history.
Yeah. So that is that, and then this is where I started to, which is lots of, things were left behind. Both American and Japanese up in the hills. Even sometimes I found Japanese remains, bones
Yeah.
And then I have to contact the Japanese embassy in Honiara, and then they normally use, they send down their men, all the way from Japan to come and retrieve the bodies.
I saw some. I was in the airport
Yeah.
earlier on today,
Yeah.
and there's a notice there that if anybody were to find anything,
That's it. That's it.
obviously the Japanese
Yes.
descendants
Yeah.
want to know about
Yeah.
it, which
Yes.
is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so they come down and collect all the bones and then bring them out to Honiara. That's where they do the cremation, sort of like a ceremony, special ceremony, and then
Because they've got the memorial, Japanese memorial.
yeah,
Yeah, we went there. When we was,
that's it.
We had a good tour
That's
of
right
that.
as well. Yeah, that's the one of the memorial thing.
Yeah.
So
So I'm just trying to put a time scale to things. So when the Americans invaded Tulagi and they went to Blue Beach,
yeah,
and then that was the first invasion by the Americans
that's
against the Japanese.
Florida Islands, in Tulagi.
Yeah, Tulagi. And then they went from there to Guadalcanal, and they went to. Then there was Hill. I forgot the name of it now. The one at the top.
Mount Austin or Guadalcanal? Is that in Guadalcanal?
In Guadalcanal, yeah, up the top of the ridge, Edson's Ridge.
Edson's Ridge.
So that was all happening later.
Yeah, behind.
So
behind
what was happening here? Was this all happening at the same time?
At the same time, when the main landing took place in Guadalcanal,
Yeah.
August the 7th, 1942,
Yeah.
there were already conflicts here as well.
They'd already come
Yeah,
down from Papua New Guinea.
Papua
and
New
were
Guinea,
down
they
this
came up
way.
this way.
And opposite from the west. Yeah, they
Yes,
were coming
and
down.
then the Americans were they came back that,
Yeah.
from Florida Islands to the
Yeah.
Guadalcanal and sort
Yeah.
of pushing the Japanese down.
Because they came from different areas. They came from
That's right.
Medway and
Yeah.
I think Pearl Harbor. Some of the fleet
Yeah.
came and
Yeah.
it was all sort of all
Because
over.
like the Japanese were based on Rabaul,
Yeah.
north of this island,
Yeah.
and the US were somewhere around in Pearl Harbor or somewhere, but they came in through that way and sort of go back that way,
Yeah.
and then come back that way. Vanuatu, that's where one of the big ships sank. The President
I was
Coolidge.
President Coolidge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a stupid American captain.
Yeah.
It was his own men who mined the harbour and he went straight into
That's
it.
it.
I've dived the President
So
Coolidge.
that is so by the time when they go back that way, the Japanese were already here building the airstrip.
Yeah.
And so that's the intention of build the closest but distance from Munda to to Guadalcanal, right to counter attack.
It's original Japanese flag.
Yeah, Japanese flag, but I think that must be like a friendly flag.
Friendly
the
flag.
aggressive one was like rather
Rising
with the
sun.
stripes.
Yeah.
stripes.
We've got the stars and stripes and the Japanese flag there. So the engine, what plane's that from?
That's for the Japanese bomber.
Bomber, right. And the old Coca-Cola bottles.
Those are the one. Old Coca-Cola bottles.
Old phone.
Phones. Yeah.
They're heavy, weren't they? Doesn't say what ship that's from, does it?
It's in the Navy of the US.
Yeah. The dog tags.
Yes. Thing, a marble tournament.
Ah, yeah. Marble tournament.
Yeah, this one I found it along the coast water edge the 18th of August last year, and it was all covered with like sand. So I have to pluck off the sands, you know, sand. But then when I showed it to someone, they told me that no, maybe it's like a current one, you know.
There was no wind today, so we motored the 12 miles across from Munda to the Rendova Island and anchored at WWII Island. So we're on Lumbaria Island on Rendova Island. This is also known as Kennedy Island. So what happened, the Japanese had about 200 troops on Rendova Island altogether. Then what happened on about the 30th of June, the Americans, and this was part of Operation Toenails, they invaded the island. And the reason they invaded the island, they wanted to use this area as a base for attacking Munda and Munda Airfield, which the Japanese held at the time. And Munda Airfield was used by the Japanese mainly to supply their other airfields at Henderson Airfield on Guadalcanal. So what happened was the troops came in and there's just small garrisons on Rendova, so it's the Americans almost walked in. The 30th of June they took over the island. So this is Lumbaria Island. So what they did on this island, this was a PT base, and it's an amphibian assault base. So what they had was the boats here ready for the attack on Munda. So they were based here, the PT boats, and the future President John Kennedy, his PT 109 boat was based here as well. So he would have been on this island for quite a while himself before he got hit by one of the Japanese destroyers in the middle of the night. And we'll tell the story about that later on in another video. But this is a different island from the one at Giza, which is also called Kennedy Island, Plum Pudding Island. But this is Lumbaria Island and Rendova Island.
They're building a museum there.
Some souvenirs and artifacts from when President John Kennedy was based here. There's an old anchor. It looks an elbow from an engine.